Bit by bit, this vehicle here has become more and more popular now among the top-selling EVs in Europe and especially also in Germany. So a strong competitor to the Tesla Model Y and also a sibling to the VW ID4, ID5. But is the Skoda Enyaq here in the updated version even the better pick? We're going to find out and tell you all about the changes with the SUV body form, but also with the Coupé and also the Sportline, sportier look, but also the base versions. Everything you need to know with Thomas and Autogefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go with the front. In this case here then, nice blue, Thomas blue, and also the Sportline, which has a sportier lower part. And you can see here is also a special new design element in the lower part, in this bumper, and also air intakes here at the side, real ones, to reduce the wind turbulences in the wheel arches, because they've worked on the aerodynamics of the vehicle. Now at 0.245 for the SUV and even 0.225 for the Coupé. So the Coupé version now the most aerodynamic one, the SUV a little bit worse, but most people actually decide to go for the SUV body type. Yeah, it's the more classic choice. Let's take it that way. More to that later. First of all, also new design language from Skoda here with a lettering on the front hood, and they replaced the logo by that. It's also a new design language in general to be a little bit more simplified on the one hand. On the other hand, more playing with light. You can see here optional matrix LED, and then you also have this segmented design element here. The base would be just a light strip, a more simplified one, and you can also get here this illuminated middle part, so then it looks indeed way different than the outgoing model. The length is 4.66 m or 183 inches. So yeah, it's in this, depending on the definition from which market you have, compact or mid-size. Wheels from 19 to 21 inch. These here are indeed the 21-inch wheels. So yeah, really cool and massive styling, definitely. What I think is missing, that you know that you don't have like a Sportline badging here at the side. I think this would be, yeah, I would definitely see a Sportline badging here, but there is none actually. What you have here in the Sportline is black mirror caps and also black frames here around the window. Then you can see here, this is our SUV body type. And what's also very important, still optional to have the DCC, adaptive suspension. And with all the MEB models on this platform, I would rather advise you to go for that one, because you have a wider span between comfort and the sportiness in the setting. It either comes with rear-wheel drive models or there's one all-wheel drive model. The entry-level version is now gone actually. So you have the 60 version and the 85 version and the 85X. The base version is rear-wheel drive and has an acceleration figure 8.1 seconds, whereas the 85 versions have an acceleration figure of 6.7 seconds, no matter if it's the rear-wheel drive version or the all-wheel drive version. Wait a minute. How is that possible? You get an electric motor, an additional one in the front then, and the acceleration figure is the same. They kind of limit that power like intentionally, because there's, you know, there was the RS version before, the VRS version, and there will be another one again. And that one will be the quicker one, and Skoda doesn't want to get involved into this like performance fighting and so on, being a family brand. Yeah, you can understand this argument. However, I think also if you go for the all-wheel drive version, there should be, let's say, something of an acceleration gain already for you. So in this case, I think the normal 85 version, the bigger battery, but rear-wheel drive, is clever choice. Soon more to the batteries. Here, first of all, the design, once again, a big lettering. So they go away from the logo, more to letterings. And then Enyaq here on the left side. And in the final version, because this is like the very first one that was built here now in the Sportline, you would have then the Sportline badging right here. So this is missing because it wasn't produced yet that early. We can take a look at the vehicle. Black contrast in the lower part. And the only thing I do criticize here in the rear is like this, again here for the aerodynamics. And I think this should be, in this case then, also a high gloss black finish to fit to the frames here at the side. Or what's your take on that? Batteries and recharging. So the smaller battery is 59 kilowatt hours net, and the bigger battery is 77 kilowatt hours net. So from the bigger battery, we can at least, like, you know, also with like more high speed motorway driving, expect 400 kilometers or 250 miles. If we now think about new aerodynamic changes, and also if you don't drive too fast, you can probably also get some 500 kilometers or 300 miles of range out of this vehicle, depending on the driving profile for sure. Recharging, always 11 kilowatt AC, and DC, the peaks differ. So the base version has a 165 kilowatt peak, then the 85 version, the rear-wheel drive one, 135 kilowatt peak, and then the 85X has a 175 kilowatt peak. It's strange, and it differs because even here in the bigger battery version, they use different suppliers with different cell chemistry. The result matters. So the small battery, 24 minutes from 10 to 80% state of charge, and the big batteries, 28 minutes from 10 to 80% state of charge. And the reason why the rear-wheel drive big battery is still at the same minute figure is, yeah, it has a lower peak, but the charging curve is better, it's better maintained, and that's why then the end result is more or less the same. So I would wish that if they update the vehicle, they maybe also put now a frunk in it. Yeah, but there is none, so this is just for refilling of wiper fluid. I mean, the hood is not that large, and they use the space, they do that, so still no frunk. Top speed, by the way, bang. Top speed is 180 kilometers an hour or 112 miles per hour. Here for the 85 versions, the entry-level versions would be only at 160 kilometers an hour or around 100 miles per hour. So German Autobahn is then more the 85 version. Then the indicators here in the front, you can see they replaced then the daytime running light on the side. By the way, this beautiful color, it's of course not called Thomas Blue. The Skoda name is Race Blue, but I think, yeah, definitely fitting one. And yeah, I would say it's my favorite color for this vehicle. Or what about you? Let's take a look at the indicators in the rear. As I said, we have the matrix LED here optionally with this vehicle, and then we also have the cascading turning indicators in the rear, and yeah, together with a nice three-dimensional look here. And when I approach the vehicle, there's also here this light show, builds up a little bit. Yeah, it's quite nice, right? And also when I, for example, close the vehicle, then there we go, have this animation. And in the rear, I think even cooler. Look at that, how it builds up here for the welcome and goodbye. And this is how the normal version of the Enyaq SUV looks like. If you don't pick the Sportline, then you will now always have the silver contrast right here. It's already beginning in the lower part right here. The only thing is optional once again here is the matrix LED, and also here this going through light signature. And it's especially visible in the side profile with the silver contrast. Here it's really high actually, but it feels really nicely, so it's good material quality. And they did that to differentiate the SUV from the Coupé version, and also to differentiate here the Enyaq to the new Elrock, the smaller brother. And you can also see here in the rear that it continues right there. So definitely also splits opinion. I think it's very visible, but also a nice idea to give a little bit more, yeah, a little bit more contrast to the vehicle. And Leah will show us the first interior bits. Here, first of all, the key fob. There you go, high gloss black. Yeah, okay. Then door closing sound. That's, I think, quite nice. And the rear is even better, I feel. But then there's, of course, the secret at the inside of the door. Our Rolls-Royce moment for today. There we go. Shall I take the key then?
Yes. And the...
Ooh. Yeah, now it can start rain in this studio here. So, here we go. I think we can put it in later again, because this will take some time.
And also on the passenger side. Yay! Yeah.
Maybe repack that or something. Yeah, see, it has to be like... Try again.
Yeah, now it fits.
That's better.
Yeah.
Then, let's take a look here. Oh, there's a nice covering here,
Yeah,
felt inside covering
nice, yeah.
of the doors. That's nice. And on the top part,
Some ambient lighting here.
there we go. And here, let's see. Yeah, it's a structure also somewhat soft, so that's nice. And the steering wheel now is an update with a lettering on
And rear buttons.
And when you have DCC, you also have this additional spoke here. So they combine it with the suspension that the look of the steering wheel is different. Otherwise, it's open. It's also interesting. There is one exception. The Sportline here is also available with the spoke here in the lower part if it's not DCC. So in the Sportline here, by the way, steering wheel up and down, in and out. So this one, you can also get the steering wheel always, no matter if you have DCC or not. Sportline, by the way, starts with the sportier, stiffer suspension as base and then optional the DCC. If you have the DCC, by the way, there is no difference between the Sportline DCC and the normal DCC. Now the cockpit overview, so new standard features. Heated steering wheel and heated seats are always standard now, and also always the 13-inch infotainment screen, so no different size, and I think that's also a nice choice. No hardware changes here in the screen, but some software updates indeed. This is then once again the Sportline interior. We have a nice leatherette covering here. It's also soft here. Then also soft dashboard with the structure on top. And the Sportline seats are really awesome, I have to say, here with the wider shoulder accentuations. Isofix here also for the front seat. And there's really good seating comfort. So yeah, really appreciate that. And there's another lounge interior available, which is not the Sportline, which has the same seat, but just in a bright style. And here with 189, 6'2", still have enough headroom left. And this is also a panoramic roof you can actually still open, which is kinda rare for electric vehicles, we have to say. Yeah, indeed. And yeah, some more light here, for example, for our middle console. In the very front, there is an inductive charging pad on the left also with ventilation, right side just putting something. Here then cup holders can be split, they're not adaptive though in this case. Another area here, this is the shifting lever here, and coins. Soft also for your elbow and more space underneath with this 3 times split. Some Tetris. And last but not least, we also have space here in the lower part. Driver POV here, once again the lettering on the steering wheel, and then here I control the volume, for example. It's good to have it, and the heated steering wheel. And then there are very tiny digital instruments. You can't change much in these, and the focus is really that you should actually take the head-up display. And the main infotainment system, climate control is here in the lower left part.
Wait a minute. Who is Laura?
Who's Laura? Oh, now Leah's getting suspicious. Sorry about that. Yeah, we will discuss this at home. Then we also have the seat heating in the lower left, but the fields are also pretty tiny, so it's not that easy to hit it while driving. The volume slider is also here, but you would rather do that at the steering wheel. In the lower part, you always have these hard buttons here, at least. And then, for example, you can go to the driving mode, and here also select how you want to set your DCC, also in an individual mode. There you can, for example, adjust, it's deep in the menu, and then you can really individualize your adaptive suspension. And how can you quickly set a hotkey for the speed limit warning? Here, press and hold, and then you can select here, speed warning, and then it's always accessible here in the top with one click actually. By the way, the main menu, or like the app view, it will look like this and not like this, so these green symbols will be gone. Rear seats here, very interesting. So this, the door could open wider actually. Here then there's a nice shade, also really wide. Then it's hard packed, but at least structured here on the top part, but no covering here at the inside whatsoever. Here we have this nice insert, however. Then cool thing is you have a lot of space. So here, like for your legs, using that EV platform, although a tall driver is sitting in the front. And also headroom, this is the SUV version, enough headroom left with 189, 6'2", and decent comfort indeed. We also have the same microfiber setup here, leatherette on the outside, Isofix then on the outside, and you can also fold this back and forth in the middle part. Fold this one down here for some cup holders, or using this one here as a ski hatch, that is also possible. And we also have some solutions here for the middle part. First of all, climate unit and also seat. Oh, someone had set it on 30 degrees Celsius. Wow, interesting. Someone's got to be cold in here. And then also seat heating in the higher trims. And this lower part, you can have the cup holders in there, USB-C chargers, but you can also take this whole thing out if you don't like it. Like, let's take a look at the trunk or the boot. 585 liters for the SUV, 570 liters for the Coupé, because you lose a little bit here. You can also take a look at it later. Then here, press here, then to remove this cover. Then you have these splitters here, so you can, for example, secure a trolley inside here. That is possible. I mean, it's an easy solution, but why not? You can also remove them. The width here, 1.40 meters, and the length is also about 1.40 meters, and the height here, of course, best with the SUV, 73 centimeters or 28 inches. Then underneath, you have some space. You can put one charging cable there. That is possible. And then you can see you have like here, like a small step, for example. But you could also take this whole lower bottom floor up like that. And then you have it here. You don't have this step anymore. So this is another possibility to push something through, for example, because here you can have the remote access. There we go. And then you don't have a step here. So it's actually a nice solution. Why not? And then the total length is like 185 or 72, 73 inches. Last but not least, we will also store a cable here in the side. So this is another cable bag, for example. Skoda goodie bag, yeah. And also retractable towing hook. There we go. Semi-automatic. Pulled again. And then it's hidden. Now a quick look at the Coupé version. Finally, look at that lower bumper here. Even if it's not a Sportline, it always looks basically like a Sportline already when it is the Coupé. The Sportline is also available for the Coupé nevertheless. And then you have here at the side profile this falling roofline, which is actually quite cool. So definitely a different look. And this is also better than for the aerodynamics indeed. Here also the bright frames then around the doors when you don't have a Sportline. And here in the rear also more brighter look with the Skoda lettering and so on. However, still a black contrast in here in this case. And of course, different rear look right here. So which one would you prefer, the Coupé or the classic SUV form? Tell me in the comments. There's one interior I like even better than the Sportline, and this is the lounge interior, as you can see it right here. Also with microfiber. Even here on the dashboard, that feels really beautiful. So I would probably spend my day petting this vehicle then. And then the seats are basically the same from the form, just that you have here the gray microfiber. You have some green contrast from the back part, but it's, subtle, let's take it that way. Leatherette on the outside. So this is a really brighter, cooler atmosphere, I feel. Of course, you can still go with the black and the Sportline, why not? But this, I think, really remarkable. And yeah, you just have to pick an exterior color, which also then fits somehow to this interior.
And fixed panoramic roof.
Oh, yeah. This is here the Coupé, by the way, and this one does get a fixed panoramic glass roof, so not one you can actually open. Yeah, good observation. This is also one difference. And here the Coupé in the rear, well, you have the fixed glass roof always. But here, I mean, it's a little bit closer when you put your head backwards, so the SUV has a little bit more headroom. And the trunk or the boot of the, there we go, trunk or boot of the Coupé. And it's more or less the same, just that here it's a little bit cut off here. So this is then where you lose something in height, but you see the differences are rather minor. And this is here the Coupé with the Sportline. So here then we have the lettering also blacked out. And also at the side, black mirror caps and black frames around the windows. And once again, when you have the Coupé, this more sensual falling roofline. Yeah, and in this case then also in a very strong red color. Velvet red is the color called actually. Pricing, so around £45,000, 50,000 euros. And then if you add some extras, a couple of €1,000 and so on, then you get to the vehicle as we stand here right now. Talking about the one with the big battery, because most probably will still pick the big battery. Yeah, the very low entry-level version is gone now, and I think it's also good in a way because it doesn't have the biggest battery on the market overall meanwhile. So I think you should go for the big battery also if you think about like buying and keeping or something. but most electric vehicles at this point are of course going into the leasing scheme. I think the facelift changes work very well. It looks a little bit more modern, and the vehicle has a lot of space on the interior, and also the user interface is actually, that you don't have to learn the car that much. My personal favorite are really the seats, both in the Sportline and also in the Lounge interior with the microfiber. This is definitely the highlight of the vehicle. For me, I think it still needs an animal-free steering wheel. That is something they should have fixed with the facelift. But overall, I think exterior and interior-wise, it does very well. And driving, I would really recommend to go for the adaptive suspension, because all of the MEB vehicles, they're usually to counterbalance that additional weight from the battery, they have a rather stiff setup. So the DCC, adaptive suspension, gives you then overall more comfort. What do you think here about the updated Enyaq? Tell me in the comments, and now directly tune into some of the competitors.